Hi, I'm Akasha and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here. And as you can tell from the title, we're going to be talking about the original creator or God of this planet that they've tried to remove from our memories. If you are interested in this topic, please like and share this video. If you're interested in rediscovering hidden or forbidden knowledge, please consider subscribing to my channel. Now, without further ado, let's jump into it. What if I told you that the supreme creator is originally a female? Well, it's true. She's the Great Mother, and she was honored and worshipped all over this entire planet thousands of years before Yahweh or Allah ever appeared. The worship of the Great Mother goes back at least to 7,000 BC and possibly as far back as 25,000 BC, according to some scholars, while Yahweh and Allah did not come onto the scene until around 1800 BC. Now, besides that, just think about it. If there's supposed to be a divine father and a divine son, wouldn't it only make sense that there's a divine mother? And more importantly, what happened to her? Before male-centered cults arrived, spirituality was centered around the Great Mother. She has had many different names and titles, but one of the most common titles has been Mother God. Now, this is fine for now due to how most people view the title of God. However, just to be clear, her original title is Great Mother. This is because she gives birth to the gods. So in regards to hierarchy, she's higher than the gods. Now, she's loving, nurturing, compassionate, and directly connected to nature and the cosmos. She has often been referred to as the tree of life, who gives freely to all her children. So instead of being some invisible being in the sky that you can only communicate with through certain channels, the Great Mother presents herself physically in many ways through nature and through a particular ancient bloodline found among the bloodlines of the original humans of this planet. The original people were capable of communicating directly with her through spirit, nature, and her human form. In these male religions, the children are born into sin and disconnected from God, which would cause them to need an outside savior to save and reconnect them to God. And then on top of that, they have to prove themselves to be and remain in God's love to avoid God's wrath. In contrast to all that, the Great Mother's children are born directly connected to her, just like a child is to their mother when they're born, and they receive her love freely without conditions. So there's no jumping through hoops just to get her love. And as I mentioned before, she reigned for thousands of years, and during her reign, it was considered to be the golden era of human existence. That is, up until the first appearance of the male cults. Why do they deny this? This is because it was a time of peace, happiness, harmony, prosperity, human and technological advancement. We were one with nature and with each other. We understood ourselves to be many pieces of one whole. There was no war. We didn't even have war weapons because we didn't need them. There was no toiling to eat because the earth provided abundantly, just like it does today, except there wasn't a small group of beings trying to block the rest so that they can monetize off the abundance that comes freely from the earth. Now, during her reign, life itself in the communities was centered around the mother. The temples were ran and filled by priestesses. Mothers served as the head of communities and the family units and provided for and made sure everyone within those units were cared for. Now, this peace and harmony was not accomplished through domination and force, which is really unbalanced masculine energy, but instead it was accomplished through the balance of both masculine and feminine principles, through giving and receiving, ebb and flow. We respected the balance of nature, and that's how we was able to accomplish the peace and harmony. Some of us may actually remember this time period because some of us have the bloodline of the original beings running through our veins, and our DNA happens to hold memory of this time period. Some people may wonder, well, if it was so peaceful and harmonious, how was this male cult able to take over our spirituality and turn it into religions? Well, in the beginning, it was gradual and seemingly innocent. The followers of the male religion were given the space to believe whatever they wanted to believe. But then they continued wanting more and more space until it went from wanting more space to them demanding it, and then eventually to them taking it with violent force. They started demonizing anything associated with the mother, including women, sex, human pleasure, and nature itself. Then they forcefully and violently started to replace the women who were once the heads of the communities and the families. They started replacing them with men instead. The Great Mother, who had often had a male lover or consort, was forced off of her throne and was demoted from being called Great Mother to being called Mother God. That's the reason why in the beginning I made note of the difference of the titles, because going from Great Mother to Mother God is actually a downgrade, if it makes sense, or being demoted. So now she was considered to be equal to her counterpart or her lover. After time, her lover was placed above her. And then through great war and bloodshed and misery, they attacked and demonized and oftentimes murdered the nurturing and compassionate Great Mother, and completely replaced her with a cruel, warlike, narcissistic father figure in the newly formed Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The temples of the goddess were either renamed and used for temples to the male deities or destroyed completely. The priestesses were removed from the temples and demoted to being whores and prostitutes, and then were gradually replaced with men who dressed up like women and went as far as to castrate themselves in an effort to be considered priestesses. Then, eventually, women were completely removed from religion as a whole and was looked at as a defilement. Our natural spirituality was replaced with man-made Abrahamic religions. Now, there were many who tried to hold on to the memory and the practices of the Great Mother, but they were continuously attacked and massacred and forced underground. The bloodline of the Great Mother was also forced into hiding to preserve itself, because the followers of Yahweh and Allah went around trying to murder them and persecuting and murdering anyone who did not change their belief from believing in the Great Mother to believing in the Great Father. The massacre of these innocent people has been heavily documented in the pages of the Bible. The Great Mother was actually the main god that Yahweh and Allah was so concerned about other people serving. In fact, they did their best to try and erase any evidence or mention of the Great Mother by editing her name out of the Bible. The Great Mother, or any of her names, was considered forbidden knowledge. Mainstream academia tends to reduce the Great Mother and the worship of her to fertility cults or paganism, and has taught that the feminine spirituality was evil and that it just naturally faded away, when in reality, it was the victim of centuries of continuous attacks, persecution, and suppression by the advocates of the new male Abrahamic religions, which held their male deities, Yahweh and Allah, supreme. Does any of this sound familiar to you? We're doomed to repeat the same cycles unless we stop, learn, and reevaluate real history, which is the history that mainstream tries to hide, distort, or destroy so that they can maintain their control over the masses. If we dive into real history, we can free ourselves from destructive cycles and make better choices for our future. If we want peace, why not study the time period before history, when there was balance, peace, happiness, harmony between humans and nature? And all this was maintained by a Great Mother. Maybe it's time for us to start recognizing that. So, if you're interested in seeking the truth, this book, which is called When God Was a Woman, you see that? If I can get it right. It's written by Merlin Stone. This book is a must-read, and it's an invaluable gem that'll help assist you with uncovering the hidden history and forbidden knowledge that can help us make better choices for our future. You can find it on Amazon. This video has been a tribute to the Great Mother and her royal bloodline. It's also a tribute to all the mothers out there and all the men who like to support the women and the mothers. The Great Mother has finally awakened. If you enjoyed this video and its contents, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.